Welcome to Ghired, Conclave Exile. As far as opening hand goes, I love it, but we have no lands. I like everything else in there, but if we had a few lands sprinkled in there, it'd be pretty good. So let's go mulligan on this one, and that is going to be... Okay, so we're going Light and Tutor, Chromatic Lantern, one Power Stone. Yeah, we'll keep on this one. I kind of like that. Yeah, keep on this one. We do have to put one card on the bottom. I think at this point, well, I'll just go for Voice of Resurgence. That's a nice card, but it's not crucial to this opening hand. We can shock in Sacred Foundry. We can go Light and Tutor, put Mana Crypt on top. That's going to put us on Chromatic Lantern, Explosive Vegetation, Warm Power. Yeah, I kind of like that. So we've got a really nice sequence hand. Don't really have a lot of token stuff to do, or any planeswalkers, but being ahead on mana that quickly will be a very nice feeling, especially against something like Yawgmoth, because that is Yawgmoth and 1v1 commanders, pretty cutthroat sometimes. So hopefully we can sneak a game out of this one. So let's go and shock in. Yeah, I guess we'll just go and shock in Temple Garden. We'll pay 2 life. Let's go for Enlightened Tutor. We're going to put Mana Crypt on top of our library. That's going to allow us to really just get ahead on mana. So let's grab this Mana Crypt. We're going to have that go on top, and then anything else, we're going to pass the turn over to our opponent. So we're playing Ghired, Conclave Exile. Whenever Ghired enters the battlefield, create a 4/4 green Rhino creature token with trample. Then, whenever Ghired attacks, populate, and be able to make a copy of whatever token we control. Then that token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. Playing against Yawgmoth, Thran Physician. Sorry, tried to get my P's and T's mixed up on that one. Protection from humans, and pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, put a -1 counter on up to 1 target creature, and draw a card. Then for a 2 mana activation, double black, discard a card, and proliferate. So let's draw into that Mana Crypt. Let's go for Mana Crypt, have that enter the battlefield. And I guess if we're just trying to go for as much mana as possible, we might as well just go and go for 1 Power Stone. I think that'd be pretty good. Because Chromatic Lantern is nice, but at least just be able to get down to Warm Power Stone and then go for Explosive Vegetation next turn. So yeah, let's do that, because it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the land drop. Explosive Vegetation. Yeah, we might. No, I think we can only go for either or next turn. But either way, once we get Explosive Vegetation down, and a Chromatic Lantern will be pretty good. So we did cover Yawgmoth, covered Ghired. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. When you build your very own Naya Populate deck with Planeswalkers or whatever floats your token boat, be sure to head over to MTGOTraders. We've got what you need. And also, if you want to check out my merch booth, I do have a merch booth set up over at inkgaming.com. Type in Jolt539 in the search option. You can see the t-shirts and play masks that I've designed. Or if you just want to get anything on the website, use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order and help the channel at the same time. So if you haven't treated yourself in a long time, go treat yourself. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. Get your name at the beginning or the ending of the credits to support the channel for cool content like this. And if you can't do that, hey, no problem. Just tell somebody about the channel at your local gaming store or online. That's another way that you can help. So now that it's officially free time, we can have some fun. I feel like we're in a pretty good spot against Yawgmoth at this point. We're going to be able to get really ahead on mana very quickly with this Explosive Vegetation and Chromatic Lantern. And with this Wrath of God, we're going to be able to set it up to where we can hopefully clear the board out to where they don't have any creatures to sacrifice with Yawgmoth. Because that's one of the big things you need to watch out for, is if you leave creatures on the board for Yawgmoth to sacrifice, they just get into this card draw that is just really hard to come back from sometimes. So let's go and get our Mana Crypt trigger on the stack. Let's go and choose Tails on this one. There we go, lost the flip. We are 0 for 1 on those Mana Crypt triggers, and we draw into Doubling Season. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's go for Explosive Vegetation. It's going to be 2 lands on the battlefield. And we'll probably do, since we do have Chromatic Lantern and we're playing against mono black, we don't really have to worry about any sort of artifact. There is like one card, and Eli knows what that one, I always forget what it's called, but Eli knows what it is. So it's like Phyrexian something. You can sacrifice a creature to destroy an artifact during your upkeep, and I don't think we have to worry about that. So since we're going to get Chromatic Lantern down, let's just go and grab a forest, and we'll go and grab a mountain. There we go. Had those enter, and then we have one condo that's floating. We'll simply just have Sacred Foundry come into play tapped, and then pass turn over our opponent. So we've got a pretty good chunk of mana. At this point, since our opponent's not really getting that crazy of a board state, we are looking at a 1-1 and a 2-1, we might do some setting up. We might want to go for Doubling Season. That way, once we finally do get our commander down, we can at least kind of hit the reset button, and or at least get the double tokens from Doubling Seasons, which would be really nice. And yeah, this would be a good time to go for Wrath of God, because that'll force them to go for some card draw, and they don't really have any ramp on their side. They don't have any artifacts, so getting that commander tax on Yawgmoth going will be a very good thing for us. So let's go and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. Hopefully we don't lose it. We are down to 18, so it's not that we need to worry just yet, but you know, have about 3 or 4 more mana crypt triggers not go our way, could definitely. Oh, I'm sorry, Dorothy. If you heard that meow, that was my production assistant. I accidentally hit her with my foot. So we do end up losing the mana crypt trigger, and that puts us down to 15. Yeah, I think we need to go for Wrath of God. So let's go ahead and go Wrath of God. And actually, we can sequence it to where we go Gilded Lotus, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be Gilded Lotus entering the battlefield. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and that'll be just enough for a Wrath of God once we get down Chromatic Lantern. So I love it when stuff like this works out just perfectly. So Chromatic Lantern, let's go white, white, and then we're going to go for Wrath of God. That's just going to hit the reset button. We're going to have a ton of mana to go for Doubling Season and get down Ghired. So even if we just don't really hit anything, if we just draw into a few more lands, being able to have Doubling Season down to get to double populate whenever Ghired swings in and attacks is a very nice feeling. So, all right, opponent's going to go for some sacrifices in response to that. So let's kind of let them do that, and then we'll jump back into the game. All right, so let's send them back to the command zone. They do cash in some card draw. Let's get the commander pop back up and pass turn back over to them. So now, as far as the build of this deck, this is kind of just almost like a Naya Good Stuff token deck. You know, we do have a pretty high distribution of Planeswalkers in here. I'm not running the Chain Veil. If we had a few more Planeswalkers, I might run the Chain Veil. So it's the amount of Planeswalkers in the deck is right at the cusp of we don't need the Chain Veil. Like, you could probably run it in here if you wanted to, but I'd rather have something else in here. That way we can go for card draw, something like that. So we're probably running around 5 Planeswalkers. If this was more of a dedicated Planeswalker deck, there's a few more, because basically it kind of puts you into this category where you're running a lot of the Ajani stuff to where you can kind of incorporate that into your Planeswalkers. So basically just kind of going for the Planeswalkers that get a token on the battlefield. So if you're wondering where the Chain Veil is, I purposely did not put it in here. That way we can make room for, kind of some more token stuff. Because you can see we've got a ton of mana on the battlefield. We've got stuff like March of Multitudes, White Sun Zenith. So we want to keep ourselves open to where we can get a Planeswalker threat on the battlefield, but at the same time threaten like a really nice token play. So let's go and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. 1 the flip. We are 1, 4, 3 on those Mana Crypt triggers. A very welcome sight. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we've got enough mana. So let's go for Doubling Season. It's going to be triple green and then double from 1 Power Stone. Well, if Doubling Season into the back. Alright, so while Dread into the battlefield, this can be 2 Rhino tokens. That'll be 2 more tokens swinging in next turn. So if they do have a board wipe, it's not good for us, but we can at least make this work. Do we want to cycle Sheltered Thicket? We could make the land drop for the turn. Since we have so much mana, I think at this point I'd rather just go ahead and cycle it. So let's do this. Let's just go ahead and pass the turn. We'll be able to cycle Sheltered Thicket. We can threaten some sort of heroic intervention. Maybe our opponents can be trying to play around that. But if they've got a board wipe, they would probably use it. Now, as far as the meow earlier you heard in the video. So Dorothy, she's my cat. She's my production assistant. She sleeps under my desk. I didn't kick her. So basically, I keep a baseball under my desk to roll my feet. And so if you don't know what rolling is, it's basically just kind of like literally rolling my foot on the baseball to kind of work the bottom muscles of my feet. So I do a lot of running, and I have a very... Each of the players sacrifices a creature. You create a 2/2 black zombie. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We can just go and sacrifice one of the rhinos. But yeah, long story short, I roll my foot out with the baseball to kind of loosen some of those muscles down there. And I rolled a little bit too far and hit her in the belly. So now she's safely back asleep. And she's kind of dramatic sometimes. I didn't hit her that hard. I just kind of basically touched her foot. She can be a little dramatic. So let's go ahead and cycle the Sheltered Thicket. So Dorothy is 100% A-OK. If you were wondering at home, if you're keeping score at home, you can check the Dorothy's OK box. That'll be a good thing. So we're going to cycle Sheltered Thicket, and hopefully we draw into just something that we can utilize this mana for. That'd be really good. Planeswalker, or even something like a tap spell to get a lot of tokens. Okay, ooh, Revelation. All right, that's good. Especially once we swing with the Populate, that'll be pretty good. Let's go ahead and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. 1 the flip. We are 2 for 4 on those Mana Crypt triggers. And then we draw into Fumigate. So we don't really have to worry about losing Ghired. So let's just go and push in, and that'll put us on Revelation to where we can draw. Should be 5. No, it's going to be 4 cards that we draw. Yeah, that'll be pretty good. So let's go and swing in. We're in a really good spot to where we can definitely push past these 1/2s and 1/1. So, and all of our creatures have trample. So in the world of zombies, the 4/4 Rhino trample token is definitely king. So let's go and push in. That's going to be 4, 8, 12, and that's going to be 14 coming across. That will be only 2 commander damage, but being able to cash in this nice little chunk of damage is a very good feeling. So let's go and go for Revelation. That's going to allow us to go for 4 card draw, and Ghired Wildspeaker. Now, if we go for Gurk Wildspeaker, that's going to allow them to swing in next turn and kind of get rid of that. So I think at this point, let's just go Temple of Abandon. That's going to be a Scry Scurry, the Fever, the Insanity. And then hopefully there's something insanely good. Second Harvest, that's going to be on top. It's going to give us a few extra tokens, but I think we're okay. We've got Doubling Season. Let's just go and put that on the bottom for right now. And, we'll still go for Gurk Wildspeaker. We'll go and plus them up because worst case scenario, that's just going to force them to not swing in at us. So we'll get down Gurk Wildspeaker. We'll go for the +1. That'll allow us to untap a couple different lands. And if they don't swing in at Gurk, that's going to allow us to go for that +3/+3 with Trample. But, having a 4/4 body with Trample is definitely good enough sometimes. So, or if we want to, we can actually just go for the -1 to create a Beast token. And then that would allow us to kind of make it to where they just basically don't want to swing in. Oh, excuse me. They go for the -4. Yeah, this is going to get the double effect. So yeah, we'll just go for the -1, get some beast. Yeah, I completely forgot about Doubling Season out there. I mean, I knew Doubling Season was out there. I'll explain that. When you're giving commentary sometimes, or at least when I'm giving commentary, recording these videos, I have to kind of do two things. I have to juggle something in one hand and juggle something in the other hand. And so Doubling Season, in this deck, I'm like, okay, just double tokens. And that's how my brain processes Doubling Season. I completely forgot about that. I mean, I know about the interaction. I just forgot about it in this instance. So next turn, we will definitely be in line for the -4 ability, +3 gain Trample. And that'll make it to where our opponent can't really do anything. They did completely tap out for Yawgmoth, so basically, I'm not sure what they could go for to kind of stop this because they can get rid of Ghired, but once we get that Trample effect, we're going to be able to close it out. And that's the other good thing. Having Planeswalkers in here, Doubling Season, that kind of takes the place of the Chain Veil because we can have creatures like Gurk Wildspeaker swing in and do some damage. So, but we still kind of played that one pretty well because I still think we could go for Revelation at the beginning, but I kind of like forcing that swing in right there. And next time we'll try to kind of sequence something like that. But if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Ghired Conclave Exile. As far as our opening hand goes, we have one colored source and it is white. So we're not going to keep on this one. Let's go ahead and mulligan. And this is that is a very clunky hand. So let's go ahead and go for, well, we've got Gilded Lotus. Yeah, that's still, and 2 board wipes, double. Yeah, that's still pretty clunky. So let's go for one more mulligan. And we're going to keep on this one. Hopefully we can jam a really quick Mirari's Wake. So let's keep on this one. We'd have to put the 2 cards on the bottom. Let's go and put Mouth to Feed. And we'll go ahead and put a White Sun Zenith on the bottom right now. So then that way we can, something we can work towards a little bit later on. So let's go for Plains. And while our opponent doesn't have any blue mana on the battlefield, let's just go and jam in Enlightened Tutor. And let's grab ourselves a Mana Rock. Let's get this popped out. Chromatic Lantern, yeah, that's going to be good. So we're going to grab Chromatic Lantern, and then this hand's not too bad. We're going to have a ton of mana. We just don't have a ton of things to do right now, so hopefully we can draw into some other good stuff. But yes, welcome. Hope you're excited to some Naya good stuff, or I don't know what we're kind of doing with the deck yet. This is definitely in its infancy, very beginning. But let's cover our commanders, and we'll talk about the deck here in just a second. So we're playing Ghired, and if I'm saying that wrong, I do apologize, but that's how it's going to be for the rest of the video. So only one comment saying, hey, Jolt, it's pronounced this way. And it always makes me laugh whenever I get a commander wrong. There's like 400 comments. I'm like, yes, I saw it. Anyway, whenever Ghired enters the battlefield, create a 4/4 green rhino creature token. Which, and always, hey, let me say this. I always appreciate people telling me when I mispronounce something. It's just I have flashbacks to my Joyra deck where I called her Jahora. And I still get comments about that. So it's just a little bit more tongue-in-cheek what I'm saying. So let's go lead off with Chromatic Lantern and go ahead and pass the turn. So we're playing Ghired. Create a 4/4 green rhino creature token with Trample. Then whenever Ghired attacks, populate. I'm going to be like a copy of that token or whatever token on the battlefield. Then that token is tapped and attacking. So playing against the Slumbering Isle. That's going to enter the battlefield with 5 slumber counters on it. And then as long as it has slumber counter on it, is a land. And then whenever you cast a spell, you may remove slumber counter from Arixmethes. I think that's how you say it. Can't remember, but we did cover both commanders. And if our opponent's passed the turn, let's go for this Mirari's Wake. I think that'll be pretty good. Let's see if this is going to stick. That's going to be green. That's going to be white. And then 3 more. So it's going to be Ancient Tomb and Governey Township. So anything, basically what's going to happen if this does stick, we'll just have a ton of mana. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we go for 1 Power Stone to kind of keep the thing going. Then hopefully we draw into some of our card draw. So we did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to build your very own Rhino deck with a Populate Rhino, hey, head on over there. They've got all the cards you may need. And also shout out to inkgaming.com. If you want to check out my merch booth, go to their website, type in Jolt539, and be able to see the playmats I've designed, the t-shirts that I've designed. Or if you don't want any of those, and you just want to get anything on the website, use coupon promo code JOLT to get 10% off your order. Help the channel out. So if you haven't treated yourself in a long time, make sure you treat yourself. And a draw to Return to Nature. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think at this point, that's going to be one pack. Yeah, we're not going to have enough for... No, that I had 3. 1, 2, 3, and then... Yeah, either way, we're going to have to tap down. So I was thinking we could go for Worn Power Stone, but that's not going to get it done because we tap down Chromatic and Lantern. Let's see. No, that's going to be 8 mana, so let's tap down on green. So we'll have Dread enter the battlefield. No, excuse me, that's going to be 1 last. So we'll back this out just a little bit. So let's go double white, double green, and then a double red. So let's go for Dread, have Dread enter the battlefield. Pay for that last 2 mana. And there's nothing for us to target Return to Nature, so we'll just simply have Ghired enter the battlefield, and then we'll get ourselves a nice little Rhino token. And the other good thing about Mirari's Wake is that it does pump up our board state, so we've already got 8 power of toughness on the battlefield. I kind of like that. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Also, last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. Get your name at the beginning or the ending of the credits, and support the channel at the same time to make some cool content like this. And if you can't do that, hey, no problem. Just tell somebody at your local gaming store about the channel or online. And that's another way you can support it. So now it's officially free time. We can have some fun. So as far as this deck goes, this deck is kind of a work in progress. You know, it's almost kind of like a Naya Planeswalker build that kind of focuses around having a lot of tokens on the battlefield. The other thing that we do have is just a lot of nice tap spells, you know, stuff like White Sun Zenith, March of the Multitudes. Just being able to jam some of these creatures on the battlefield really quickly is kind of what we're trying to go for with this deck. So our opponent's going to go for the Commander, and then get them down and then pass it back over to us. So we do have 1 Power Stone to go for. We'll see what we draw into. Hopefully it's some sort of way to further our board state, or a Planeswalker, or land drop's fine. So let's go and have Flooded Strain enter the battlefield. Let's go for 1 Power Stone. It's going to be, well actually, do we want to just go and pump up Governey Township? Yeah, that might be a pretty good option. So let's do this. So let's just go for that. You know, if we need to put pressure on our opponent, I feel like that's going to be the best way that we can do it. So let's go and swing in with the Rhinos. We're going to swing in with the entire crew. We're going to get an extra Rhino on the battlefield, tapped in attacking, and we're going to populate this Rhino token. Let's go for Governey Township. We're going to add double green too, and that'll take care of that. And that'll still give us just enough mana to go for Worn Power Stone. So we're going to get a couple extra +1 counters on our creatures. That's going to be 12, and that's going to put it all the way up to 16 total damage that we're dealing. So you can see it's turn 5, and this is a pretty good little board. We had to mulligan down, and simply just being able to utilize the mana that we have from Mirari's Wake is a pretty good thing. So let's go for Worn Power Stone. That's going to be 1, 2, 3 from Ancient Tomb. We'll have that enter the battlefield, and then we're going to go and pass the turn over there. So yeah, there's kind of a core concept of some Naya Planeswalkers in here. There's some pretty good ones. There's Elspeth that's going to get a lot of tokens. That does kind of hit some of our Rhino tokens if we have to go for that minus ability. But just being able to swarm the board and control it at the same time is a really good feeling. We do have Chandra. We do have Chandra Flamecaller, which is going to be really nice. I mean, especially 1 versus 1 commander. Just getting down those double 3/1s every single turn and swinging at your opponent is... So really good way to put some pressure. What else do we have? We have Hatali, the Warrior Poet, the Boros version. She does have a 0 ability that puts a 3/3 green dinosaur on the battlefield. That's pretty good. We also do have Xenagos, which is going to allow us to kind of add mana to our mana pool equal to the number of tokens that we do have on the battlefield, and at the same time make some satyrs. So basically, if we're just having a Planeswalker in here, it's got to make a token somehow, because we do have other ways that we can kind of amplify those tokens. So we've got Second Harvest and the Parallel Lives, Anointed Procession. So there's a lot of ways that we can really kind of advance this board state. So as far as this being like a straight up token deck, it definitely is, but we're kind of relying on some Planeswalkers, because one of the cool things is that we are running a pretty good chunk of board wipes in here. And so, you know, getting these Planeswalkers down, going for a board wipe, that's going to allow you to rebuild really quickly, or simply just going for like Mirari's Wake with a ton of mana and then recasting Ghired after you go for a board wipe is a pretty fun way. But yeah, this was, normally I'm not a huge Naya person. I don't really enjoy the Naya colors unless it has some sort of fun ability to kind of really utilize besides just power and toughness. So having the option to kind of populate and have that tapped in attacking, I feel that was a pretty fun build for him. You know, it kind of leaves it open in your deck building, and that's one of the fun things that I look for in a commander is what sort of strategies can this commander support. And with Ghired, it's going to be completely open, so you can go for the full populate bandwagon if you want to get the Weathering or Wandering Temple. I think what it is equal to the number of creatures you control, and then whenever it deals damage, populate. So whatever sort of way you want to take it, you certainly can. Or simply just going like a Naya control deck. Just being able to just kind of get a really nice board state going pretty quickly by simply casting your commander and then swinging in is really nice. And the fact that our commander does have a pretty nice toughness with 5 makes it to where you can typically swing into some pretty good board states. So let's see what our opponent's tapping out for. They did go for Kiora. Whenever a creature power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, draw a card, then for a -1 untap target permanent. So they keep, I'm not sure if they don't have enough mana for what they're doing. There we go. All right, so they passed it back over. Felt like they were just kind of, ooh, we're in a Ghired Primal Speaker. That is a very, very good option. So let's go triple green. So at this point, we've got 4/10. We've got enough to deal lethal damage. So let's just go for Ghired Wild Speaker at this point right now. And if they've got, actually, we'll do that on the back end. Because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've got 6 mana. If they want to, actually, yeah, let's go for Ghired Wild Speaker right now. Because they have some sort of attacking creature spell, you know, like Aetherize or something. They don't have Cyclonic Rift mana, but at least at this point, I want to get some sort of value from our board state in case they have some sort of, you know, put all the attacking creatures on the bottom or something. So we're going to use that last color. Let's go for Ghired Primal Hunter. And we're going to go for the -3 ability, which is going to be 6 card draw, which is going to be really good. So all right, there we go. We do run into another land. Let's go for, I guess, Temple. Actually, we'll go for Forest because that will enter the battlefield untapped and still give us, I think, some Governey Township activations. I think that will. So let's still go and push in. That way, if they do bounce at least 1 creature back or something. So let's go and push in. We're going to all swing in at our opponent, and we're going to get an extra trample token too. There we go. So that's going to be 12. That's going to be 16 coming across. That should be lethal, like I said, unless our opponent has some sort of bouncing back to the hand spell. And there we go. There we go. Knock our opponent down to -7. So this is pretty much what the deck wants to do. You can see that we had to mulligan down to 5, and being able to just utilize a ton of mana in a deck like this is a really good feeling. We do draw into Field of Dead, and once we get that online to get those 7 different lands, we are running 3 colors in here. So having an active Field of Dead pretty quick is not that crazy. And even something like going for a White Sun Zenith with Mirari's Wake on the battlefield allows you to bounce back from some sort of board wipe, whether from us or from our opponent. But pretty good showing of Ghired, and also really exciting. Also, if you have any suggestions for the deck, or maybe you have a certain way you've taken them, be sure to hop in the comments. I like to read them because I always like to kind of keep my deck building open as far as where I want to take a commander. So if there's a card that you've really enjoyed so far, let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.